said. I don't know cartoon episodes.
Do you love them spicy?
I know Silent Hill. Silent Hill. So.
Do you know? You know what? I've always wanted to play the first and twos. Wait. I'm thinking of Parasite Eve.
Oh, I love the first Parasite Eve. I don't remember it.
Did you ever play it?
I never. Yeah.
I never.
It was like 2011, but I've always wanted to play Parasite Eve. I never played this one.
I want to play both. Okay, here we go. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Wait. Where's my tissue? I need to blow my nose. What's this?
Here, there's
Oh,
this.
yeah. Thank you, baby. The first part of this story, disclaimer, is going to be utter bullshit. But I do know the rest. Here we go. What time is it? What's the hour? 3?
Probably late.
I think it's like 3.
It's later than that.
3:30.
It's like 3:34. It looks like.
Submitted for the approval of the 3 o'clock in the morning society. I present John's own version of the episode of Rugrats where Angelica gets turned to stone.
Only Justin can prove you wrong.
And
I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
in this
I
episode,
don't either.
in 1993, the show of Rugrats came on the Nickelodeon network.
You can't prove it.
And in this episode, here's how it begins in dialogue. So, or monologue. So the babies, Tommy, Chucky, Phil, Lil, they're running around, they play, and their parents are like way neglectful as ever. They don't know where they is. They all trying out Stu's new toys. And let me be clear here, he was never inventing children's toys. He was inventing adult toys. He was going to put Pickles toys on the map. He was going to pickle that toy
They were pickles.
inside of a cooch or inside of a butthole. Either way, that's where they were intended. Regardless, the children run around all over the front yard. And Angelica comes up to the babies, Phil, Will, Chucky, Tommy. Angelica is the older one. She's about 3-ish in age, and she can communicate with babies and adults, but babies cannot communicate with adults. There's
We
the
know.
bridge. Okay.
Oh, he's all over Justin's penis.
What happened?
He spilled Ninja Turtles.
It's okay. Keep your story. Sorry.
Either way, Angelica comes up to the babies and she's like, "Hey, babies, that's my xylophone, and you can't play with it because my daddy bought it for me, and I'm gonna kick sand into your eyeballs." And then she runs off. And then Tommy's like, "Ugh, Angelica, she makes me so mad. Sometimes I wish very bad things would happen to her." And Phil and they were like, "Oh yeah?" And Chucky's like, "Tommy, I don't know." And he was like, "Sometimes I wish something super bad would happen to her." And Chucky's like, "You know what they say? You should never, you should always be aware of what you wish for, because sometimes it might come true." And he's like, "Something bad." And Tommy's like, "Oh yeah, I wish something bad would happen to Angelica." And Phil and they were like she'd turn into like worms. And Lil's like bat slobber. And Lil's like bat guts. And then Phil's like bat guts and worm slobber. And they're like, "Oh no, that's awful." Chucky says, he's like, "That's bad." And Tommy's like, "No, I wish something super bad with Angelica." What happened to Angelica? The most bad thing ever to happen to any baby ever. I wish. And then a loud explosion, a loud sound, and a light flashes in the sky. And here's Lou. He's the grandpa, and he's like, "Damn, Stu, that bug zapper it's worth more than its value. Like, we got our money's worth." zapping the fuck out of that mouth over these babies. They don't know profanity. It's fine. I can cuss all I want. And then the babies scatter. And then here's Drew, which is Stu's brother. You don't know Stu at this point. Stu is Tommy's father. Okay?
Watch my episode and you'll know that.
He's a toy inventor.
Sex toy.
But sex toys really, like, I guess if he has for IRS purposes, has to invent children's toys, then he does. Well, anyway, his brother, Drew, shows up at the front door. He opens the door. Hey, brother! Hey, brother, says Drew. And he says, all right, can I drop off Angelica because I got to go on my whitewater rafting retreat? And he's like, okay, yeah, come on in with your kid. Because Lord knows I don't watch any kids. I don't forget what they do. So Drew drops him off. And he's like, hey, I got to be gone for a little while. And Stu's like, why is that, Drew? And he's like, cuz it's mine and Charlotte's anniversary. Charlotte, his wife. And he's like, I got her the greatest gift. It's so beautiful. And Stu is like, beautiful like your daughter? Who's most innocent and sweet and kind and beautiful? And he's like, yeah. And he brings it in, and it's a glass sculpture. Maybe glass. Maybe polished concrete. You can't tell if you're not drunk. Either one, whatever it is. Anyway, he brings it in, and he's like, it's the most beautiful, beautiful statue you've ever seen. And Stu's like, oh, yee. And Drew's like, oh, yee. And he brings it in, and here it is. It's the statue of Angelica, and she's like,
I remember now.
And Sue's like, we better get it off the carpet because of the rug mites. We don't want it to be damaged. And Drew's like, okay, all right, I guess, if you think it's safe. And Sue's like, well, we better get out to the backyard because that's where it's the safest. And he takes the statue of Angelica out to the backyard. And then Drew's like, all right, thanks for keeping this gift safe for me because I don't want my wife to find it super soon. We're going to go off for no inexplicable reason. Bye. And him and Angelica leave. So, Q2, the babies, they're out in the backyard and they see the Angelica statue and they're like, they come up to it. Tommy goes, it's Angelica. And Phil goes, she's turned to stone. And Chucky goes, oh, no, Tommy, look, it's what you wish for. The very baddest thing of the very baddest things can happen to her. She's turned to stone. And they're like, Lil goes, well, I kind of like her this way. I mean, she's quiet. She's not bossy anymore. She's fine this way. And Tommy goes, well, you know, but when our mom and daddies find out about this, we're going to be in super trouble. And they're like, oh no! So they get her, and they're like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And Grandpa's coming out with his shears and his fucking hat on, because he ain't got nothing to do. He's on disability. He's just drawing a fucking Medicaid check for the whole family. And he's like, I better do something or they gonna kick me out. So he's got the weed shears and he's like, I'm gonna clip 2, 3 to 5 leaves and then I'm gonna go to sleep on the recliner. Oh, and the babies are like, oh, Grandpa can't see that we've turned Angelica into stone with my evil wishes, says Tommy. And they like, oh, we gotta move her. And so they get their little red Wagner and they roll it over in front of the Angelica, and then they're like, let's throw it in. And Chucky somehow trips over his shoelaces, which are never tied, by the way. And he falls in, he's like, oh. And then the Angelica statue falls on top of him. Oh, ow. And they're like, shut the fuck up, Chucky. We ain't gonna get grounded for this shit. We barely 1 year old. We ain't about to get grounded. Oh, God. And so he's like, all right, I'm going to shut up. Shut the fuck up. And they drive over to the bushes with the Wagner, and they're pulling, and they're pulling. They get her up, and Chucky's free, and they shove her into the bushes, and they're like, oh, God damn. We got to shove her into the bushes. Here she is. And the Dee Dee comes out, and she's like, oh, time to do the laundry. And she's putting like clothes and panties and like galoshes on the clothesline. And Drew's like, he's hanging out. What the hell? He's naked in this episode. I don't know. But he's like, this is Drew. He's like, Dee. Wait, sorry. Dee, have you seen my underwear? And she's like, oh, fuck me. Have you checked your fucking underwear drawer, Stu? And he's like, what? I have an underwear drawer. I'm naked in the middle of the day, but I've never checked such a drawer. And she's like, you better fucking check. That's where your goddamn underwear is. So she sets out a whole basket. Oh, Lordy. Thank God I didn't spill my drink. Anyway, she sets out a whole basket of clothes and underwear in his house. And the babies are like, oh, Tommy, if your mom sees that we've turned Angelica to stone, we're going to be in super, super trouble. And so they dress her up in like boxers and like socks and like a bathrobe and like a Santa cap. And Dee Dee's a fucking idiot. And she's like, oh, hey, kids, I'm just going to put... Oh, hey, Angelica, I thought your daddy and you already left to go buy a present for your mama. Too bad I'm hanging clothes up and I have no self-worth as a human being. And then Stu's like, hey, gee, I can't find my freaking shirts. And she's like, God, I married a fucking idiot. Okay, Stu, I'm coming up to find your goddamn socks because you're an idiot and you don't make any money for this family. We're gonna go on food stamps later, I guess. And then the babies are like, oh shit. Oh, that was a close one. Whew. We gotta move. We gotta move the Angelica statue. Oh, all right, Chucky, get back in the fucking oven. Oops, the Wagner. And he's like, he's like, Harry, fucking throw her on me. And that's when they move to the bushes. And then all of a sudden they hear, because that's how doorbells sound in the 90s. Stu's running downstairs. And he's fucking like sunflower yellow bushy ass boxers with like a, I don't know, like a striped purple tank top. And he's like, hey Stu, you interrupted my photo change album underwear shoot in the middle of the day. And Drew's like, hey, Charlotte just got back from her takeover of that company. And it's real special, and I wanted to get her the special gift of Angelica as a statue. And then, meanwhile, Tommy's like, hey, we gotta change her back into a real girl. And Phil's like, hey, we gotta treat her like a real girl. What's her favorite thing that Angelica would snap out of it even if she was turned to stone? And they're like, cookies. And then they like, give her cookies, and she don't come back to life. They're like, we gotta dress her up in clothes, we gotta treat her like a real girl. And they treat her like a real girl, she don't come back to life. And then Tommy's like, oh, I wish she'd come back to life. Please come back to life. And she don't, because she's not even Angelica, she's fucking stoned. And anyway, Drew is like, hey, we're back, and we're here to get Charlotte's takeover gift. Whatever that is. Angelica's like, oh no, and she's throwing glitter out of her eyes. She's like, ooh, glittery. And then Stu's like, I'm gonna fucking underwear, but alright, come on in. And then they're like, oh shit, Angelica's dad's here. We gotta hide her. And they try to, and then Turkey gets into the wagon awkwardly.
Turkey, my favorite.
And Angelica's statue falls on top of it and breaks in a billion pieces. And then Angelica runs out and she's like, oh, what's all these rocks on the ground, babies? And she's like, wait, these are rocks. These rocks are me. And she holds up the head of herself and she's in statue form. And she's like, she throws it down, and then Drew runs out, and he's like, my $497.57 statue for Charlotte. No! And then they realize that Angelica was never turned to stone. And they run all over her and they give her kisses. And she's like, eee, pee-pee James. Yeah.
That was like the whole fucking goddamn. But it was like
Justin-
15 minutes.
Justin or Maggie,
Yeah.
do one of you have a shorter one before I go next?